Publishing Zombie is proud to bring you the book Inferno Unleashed. If you're interested in reading more about Inferno Unleashed, get your copy now, available in Amazon bookstores. The Gateway Conspiracy, the hidden war for human consciousness. Unlock the secrets the CIA tried to bury. Discover the Gateway Conspiracy, the hidden war for human consciousness on Amazon, and take the first step toward breaking free from the illusion. Dive into the hidden world of covert operations and mind control and find out what they don't want you to know. Your journey to uncover the truth begins now. Subscribe now and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Like, share and follow to stay updated. There's much more to uncover. You can also order your own copy of Inferno Unleashed, the dark science behind geoengineered wildfires, available now in Amazon bookstores.
Publishing Zombie, indie publishing for rebellious readers.
Welcome back to Inferno Unleashed, the dark science behind geoengineered wildfires. Fire is no longer natural. Directed energy weapons, silent, invisible, and devastating, are being deployed in ways the government refuses to acknowledge. From laser ignition to microwave-based combustion, these advanced weapons turn forests into infernos with surgical precision. They call it climate change. We call it engineered destruction. Stay tuned. The truth is about to ignite. Chapter 3. Directed energy weapons, the silent ignition system. Publishing Zombie is proud to bring you the book Inferno Unleashed. If you're interested in reading more about Inferno Unleashed, get your copy now, available in Amazon bookstores. Welcome back to Inferno Unleashed, the dark science behind geoengineered wildfires. Let's do the do, shall we? Directed energy weapons, the silent ignition system. The science behind directed energy weapons and their role in wildfires. For decades, the idea of laser-based weapons capable of incinerating targets from miles away was considered science fiction. Today, it is a classified reality, concealed behind military research, defense contractor patents, and covert operations. Directed energy weapons, D.E.Ws, include high-powered lasers, microwave beams, and electromagnetic pulse systems. These are now among the most advanced and devastating tools in modern warfare. What makes these weapons even more dangerous is their ability to operate silently, invisibly, and with no public accountability. Evidence suggests that D.E.Ws have been deployed alongside geoengineering to ignite and accelerate wildfires, turning routine forest fires into catastrophic infernos that destroy entire communities while leaving surrounding areas mysteriously untouched. This section will uncover the science behind D.E.Ws, their military applications, and their suspected role in engineered firestorms such as the 2018 Paradise, California fire, the 2019 Australia fires, the 2023 Maui wildfire, and possibly the 2025 Los Angeles devastation, leaving thousands homeless and conveniently without insurance coverage. What are directed energy weapons? Directed energy weapons, or D.E.Ws, are highly advanced systems that use concentrated electromagnetic radiation to heat, damage, or destroy targets at a distance. Unlike traditional explosives or incendiary devices, D.E.Ws leave minimal physical evidence, making them ideal for covert military and intelligence operations. Types of D.E.Ws used in wildfire acceleration. First, we have high-energy lasers, or HAARPs. These emit a focused beam of light that can cut through steel, ignite fires, and disable vehicles from miles away. They are used by the US Navy, Air Force, and defense contractors such as Lockheed Martin. Some even suspect these lasers of igniting targeted wildfires in strategic locations. Next, we have microwave-based D.E.Ws. These devices emit intense microwave radiation that superheats water molecules in living organisms, wood, and vegetation. This can cause objects to spontaneously combust from within, igniting fires. These D.E.Ws are used in military crowd control systems like the Active Denial System, or ADS. Finally, let's talk about electromagnetic pulse, or EMP, and radio frequency, or RF weapons. These emit bursts of radio frequency energy that interfere with electronics, power grids, and wireless communication. They can be used to disable security systems, fire alarms, and water pumps, worsening the impact of fires. Directed energy weapons, or DWs, are not just experimental technologies. They are fully operational and deployed in various military applications with billions in government funding behind their development. Military and corporate patents for DWs and their role in fire control. While governments deny the use of DWs in wildfire ignition, a trail of patents and military contracts tells a different story. US defense contractors developing DWs for climate and fire control. Lockheed Martin, Raytheon and Northrop Grumman hold multiple patents for laser-based ignition systems, atmospheric plasma weapons, and microwave fire control technologies. The US Department of Defense has allocated billions for D.E.W deployment, including contracts for atmospheric fire ignition under defense budget allocations. NASA and DARPA have collaborated on dew-based weather modification programs, confirming that these weapons are used in atmospheric manipulation. Patent evidence suggesting dew-driven firestorms from 2011 describes a laser-induced plasma channel capable of igniting fires remotely using a laser-guided energy beam. Patent US 9476462B3 from 2016 details a system that ignites specific locations within a target area, leaving no debris or traceable incendiary material. Patent US 8635913B2 from 2014 outlines the use of directed microwave energy to superheat and ignite vegetation, matching forensic evidence found in recent wildfires. These patents confirm that DEWs have been designed for ignition and fire control, which raises the question, are they being used in geoengineered wildfire operations? Forensic evidence and satellite data linking DWs to wildfires. In multiple recent fire disasters, forensic and satellite evidence strongly suggests the presence of directed energy weapon attacks. The 2018 Paradise, California fire, unnatural fire behavior. The Paradise, California fire exhibited several anomalies that cannot be explained by natural wildfires. Selective destruction. Homes and vehicles were reduced to ash while trees and grass nearby remained untouched. Extreme temperatures. Fire temperatures exceeded 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit, melting steel and glass, something that does not happen in natural fires. Unusual ignition points. Multiple fires started simultaneously across distant locations, consistent with targeted dew strikes. Satellite thermal imaging showed heat signatures resembling concentrated energy bursts, not random fire spread. The 2023 Maui firestorm targeted incineration. Buildings burned, but blue-colored objects like cars and roofs remained untouched, matching the frequency absorption characteristics of D.W systems. Eyewitnesses reported blue flashes in the sky before the fires ignited, similar to the plasma burst of a directed energy beam. Surveillance footage captured electrical arcing patterns consistent with high-energy laser ignition. Independent researchers analyzing Maui's fire aftermath found that metallic nanoparticulates such as aluminum and barium, which are found in geoengineering sprays, may have acted as a fire accelerant. Power grids and water systems were mysteriously disabled before and during the fire, suggesting a coordinated attack. The financial and political motives behind DEW-driven firestorms. If DEWs are being used to ignite and accelerate wildfires, who benefits from these engineered disasters? After the Paradise and Maui fires, corporate investors moved quickly to acquire burned land at a fraction of its original value. Plans for smart city developments were already in place before the fires occurred. Residents were prevented from rebuilding, forcing them into government-controlled urban zones. Federal disaster funds are funneled to corrupt government contracts, benefiting defense contractors and real estate developers. Insurance companies refuse to pay claims, financially devastating victims while allowing corporate takeovers of burned properties. Geoengineered firestorms justify extreme climate policies, including carbon taxes, land use restrictions, and energy rationing. Governments claim that extreme wildfires are caused by climate change, distracting from the role of D.E.Ws and geoengineering. Who is behind the use of directed energy weapons in firestorms? The coordinated use of D.E.Ws and geoengineering in wildfire disasters points to a network of corporate, military and financial interests. US defense contractors such as Lockheed Martin Raytheon and Boeing, military intelligence agencies including DARPA, the CIA, and Pentagon Black Ops programs. Billionaire investors and smart city developers like BlackRock, Vanguard, and Silicon Valley elites, globalist organizations such as the World Economic Forum, the UN Climate Agenda, and IMF-backed financial policies. These entities use DUs as part of a broader strategy of engineered disasters, financial control, and forced population restructuring. Conclusion: firestorms as a weapon of the future. This section has demonstrated that D.E.Ws are real, operational, and have been patented for ignition and fire acceleration. Satellite data, forensic evidence, and eyewitness reports suggest D.E.Ws were used in the Paradise and Maui fires. Dew-driven firestorms serve the financial and political interests of globalist elites, smart city planners, and defense contractors. Click on the bell to follow and subscribe to see the entire Inferno Unleashed documentary series on YouTube now. Stay tuned, there's much more they don't want you to know. While most people assume geoengineering is a purely scientific endeavor aimed at combating climate change, the deeper reality reveals a highly profitable militarized industry backed by governments, private corporations, intelligence agencies, and globalist financial institutions. Weather control and climate modification are not just about environmental intervention. They are also about geopolitical power, financial domination, and global corporate control. A vast network of defense contractors, big tech firms, investment banks, and intelligence agencies is heavily invested in weather modification technologies. Governments fund these operations under the guise of climate research and disaster prevention, while private corporations and financial elites capitalize on engineered disasters to consolidate land, control food supply chains, and expand surveillance systems through smart cities. This section will explore the financial and corporate forces behind military geoengineering programs, detailing who profits from climate warfare and why weather control is one of the most powerful tools in the hands of global elites. Geoengineering has evolved into a multi-billion-dollar industry with corporations and governments pouring vast sums of money into weather modification programs. While the public is told these operations are meant to protect the environment, the true beneficiaries are private entities and defense contractors that treat weather as a tool for economic and strategic control. The key players funding and profiting from geoengineering: the military-industrial complex. The Pentagon, DARPA, and defense contractors receive massive government funding for classified climate modification programs. Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, Boeing, and Northrop Grumman hold military contracts for weather warfare technologies, including satellite-based climate control systems. Big Tech and the AI Smart City Complex. Google, Microsoft, and Amazon invest heavily in weather data collection, cloud computing, and AI-driven climate forecasting, which allows them to predict and manipulate economic outcomes based on weather patterns. The banking cartel and investment firms. BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street are the largest financial entities investing in weather modification patents and disaster recovery industries. These firms own significant shares in insurance companies, real estate developers, and infrastructure firms that capitalize on destruction caused by geoengineered weather events. The UN, World Economic Forum, and globalist institutions. The UN and WEF actively promote geoengineering as part of their climate agenda, funneling billions into climate engineering projects that serve corporate and military interests. Classified military contracts and secret government funding. Billions of dollars in military and government spending are allocated to climate engineering projects under vague budgetary line items such as climate resilience and defense weather operations. These programs operate with little public oversight, allowing military and intelligence agencies to develop weather modification technologies without accountability. Evidence of government funding for geoengineering. The US Department of Defense allocates over $20 billion annually to classified climate modification projects, according to leaked budget reports. The CIA and Pentagon have funneled funds into private contractors like SAIC and Battelle Memorial Institute, which develop aerosol dispersal technologies for military and intelligence operations. NASA and NOAA receive billions in climate research grants that are used to deploy stratospheric aerosol injections under experimental programs. Weather modification patents registered by military contractors, including ionospheric manipulation systems, aerosol delivery mechanisms, and electromagnetic climate control technologies, prove long-term investment in artificial climate alteration. How weather warfare is monetized. Weather modification is not just a scientific experiment, it is a tool for economic warfare, financial manipulation, and corporate profit. Governments and elite institutions use climate disasters to consolidate wealth, seize land, and justify increased control over populations. Disaster capitalism, profiting from geoengineered catastrophes. Fires, droughts, hurricanes, and extreme weather events are exploited by global investors who buy up devalued land, resources, and infrastructure in affected regions. The 2018 Paradise, California wildfires displaced thousands, allowing corporate developers to seize prime real estate for smart city construction. In Maui, 2023, evidence suggests pre-planned land grabs as investors quickly move to acquire burned-out properties following the firestorm. Freshly into 2025, Los Angeles appears to have been hit by the same playbook. Food supply manipulation and agricultural control. Artificial droughts and floods force small farmers out of business, allowing multinational agribusinesses to dominate global food production. Companies like Monsanto and Bayer benefit from weather-modified drought conditions, as they push genetically modified seeds designed to withstand artificial environmental stress. Bill Gates has invested heavily in synthetic food production, lab-grown meat, and climate-controlled farming technologies, reinforcing a manufactured food scarcity narrative. Carbon credit scams and the push for climate taxation. The same global institutions funding geoengineering also promote carbon credits, climate taxation, and digital tracking systems. BlackRock, Goldman Sachs, and J.P. Morgan Chase lead the charge on carbon credit markets, using climate disasters as justification for new financial instruments that tax individuals and businesses for their so-called carbon footprint. The WEF's climate lockdown proposal suggests using extreme weather as a pretext for restricting movement, enforcing digital IDs, and limiting personal freedoms. Who benefits from controlling the weather? Defense contractors, private corporations, and globalist financial institutions all have a vested interest in maintaining and expanding weather modification programs. These entities stand to gain from permanent control over climate conditions, allowing for precise manipulation of economies and resource distribution. Financial domination through carbon markets, insurance fraud, and post-disaster land acquisitions. The enforcement of digital surveillance systems tied to climate policy, smart cities, and social credit systems. Governments and elites use climate engineering not just to modify the weather but to shape the global economic and political landscape in ways that benefit their control systems while impoverishing and enslaving the masses. Conclusion: the merging of climate warfare and global financial control. This section has demonstrated that weather modification is a massive industry controlled by defense contractors, intelligence agencies, and global investment firms. Governments secretly fund military geoengineering projects under classified budgetary allocations. Disaster capitalism ensures that climate-engineered catastrophes result in massive corporate and financial gains. Geoengineering programs are linked to smart cities, food control, and financial surveillance systems, reinforcing the push towards centralized global governance. Click on the bell for notifications and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next episode of Inferno Unleashed, the dark science behind geoengineered wildfires. Don't go anywhere, there's a lot more that they don't want you to know. Publishing Zombie is proud to bring you the book Inferno Unleashed. If you're interested in reading more about Inferno Unleashed, get your copy now, available in Amazon bookstores. While directed energy weapons, or D.E.Ws, are capable of igniting fires, their effectiveness is significantly enhanced when combined with geoengineering aerosol programs. This dual approach, the spraying of fire-accelerating particulates into the atmosphere followed by targeted ignition using energy weapons, creates firestorms that burn hotter, spread faster, and leave behind unnatural destruction. The official narratives surrounding extreme wildfires focus on climate change, faulty electrical grids, and human negligence, yet forensic evidence and military patents suggest that many of these catastrophic fires are intentionally engineered. This section will expose how D.E.Ws and geoengineering work together as a coordinated ignition system, providing the scientific basis, forensic evidence, and financial motives behind this operation. A wildfire requires three key ingredients: fuel, vegetation, structures, or chemical compounds that can burn; heat, a source of ignition to raise materials to combustion temperature; and oxygen, to sustain and intensify the burning process. Geoengineering and D.E.Ws enhance all three elements, making wildfires significantly more destructive than naturally occurring fires. The presence of metallic particulates in wildfire debris has raised serious questions about why these fires burn hotter and spread faster than normal. Forensic analysis of wildfire sites such as Paradise, California, and Maui has revealed traces of aluminum oxide, which acts as a fire accelerant, reducing ignition temperature and increasing heat intensity. Barium nitrate, used in fireworks and pyrotechnics to create high-temperature explosions. Strontium enhances combustion by stabilizing flame chemistry. And nanothermite compounds, a military-grade incendiary found in wildfire ash samples. The role of these metal-based compounds in fire acceleration is well documented in both military and industrial applications. When sprayed into the atmosphere and absorbed into vegetation, soil, and building materials, they create highly flammable environments. Once the environment is saturated with metallic fire accelerants, a dew pulse can trigger instant combustion. High-powered lasers excite metal oxides, igniting them at lower temperatures than normal vegetation fires. Microwave-based dews superheat moisture within organic materials, causing explosive combustion. Electromagnetic energy directed at metal-coated surfaces such as vehicles and rooftops can create molten destruction. The unusual burn patterns seen in recent wildfires, including vehicles melted to liquid while trees remain standing, suggest that a targeted, high-energy ignition system is being deployed. Military patents confirm the use of fire-enhancing aerosols and D.E.Ws. Patent US 5003186A from 1991 describes the use of metallic aerosols to modify atmospheric conditions, including increasing heat retention. Patent US 7415138B2 from 2008 outlines a method for deploying flammable nanometals via airborne dispersal systems. Patent US 4873928A from 1989 confirms the military's ability to ignite aluminum oxide aerosols using energy-based ignition pulses. Patent US 7895898B2 from 2011, developed by Lockheed Martin, describes a laser-induced plasma channel, or LIPC, for remote ignition of targets. Patent US 9476462B2 from 2016 describes a system to ignite combustible materials from a distance using directed energy beams. Patent US 8635913B2 from 2014 details a method of using microwave energy to superheat and ignite materials containing metallic elements. These patents prove that military and defense contractors have developed both the fuel, metallic aerosols, and the ignition system, D.E.Ws, necessary to create artificial firestorms. Case studies: evidence of geoengineered and dew-ignited firestorms. The 2018 Paradise, California fire homes were incinerated to ash, while green trees remained untouched, a phenomenon inconsistent with natural wildfires. Metallic debris was found melted, despite aluminum's melting point exceeding 1,200 degrees Fahrenheit. Satellite imagery detected strange bursts of heat energy before ignition. The 2023 Maui wildfire eyewitnesses reported blue-colored flashes in the sky before the fire started. Certain objects, particularly blue-colored roofs and vehicles, remained undamaged, suggesting frequency-specific targeting. Police and emergency services blocked evacuations, a tactic seen in other suspected D.E.W-driven events. The Australian firestorm, 2019 to 2020. Fires spread at unnatural speeds, engulfing entire towns in minutes. Government reports mentioned dry lightning, yet locals reported no storms prior to ignition. Metallic aerosol deposits were found in the soil and air before the fires. These patterns of fire acceleration, selective destruction, and high-energy ignition sources suggest that a coordinated geoengineering DEW operation is behind these events. Who benefits from DEW-driven wildfires? The engineered destruction of forests and towns serves multiple financial and political agendas: disaster capitalism and land grabs. After wildfires, large financial firms acquire burned land at bargain prices. Survivors are often denied insurance payouts, forcing them to sell property to corporate buyers. Smart city projects are planned in many wildfire zones before fires occur. Government expansion and climate lockdowns. Fire-driven destruction justifies extreme climate policies and land use restrictions. Federal and state governments increase control over land, water, and resource distribution. Climate fear narratives push globalist policies under the guise of disaster prevention. Military and corporate profiteering defense contractors profit from contracts to fight engineered disasters. Big tech companies develop surveillance infrastructure in rebuilt smart cities. Financial institutions create climate bonds and disaster recovery markets to capitalize on devastation. This engineered cycle of destruction and reconstruction ensures permanent economic dependence on corporate and government-controlled infrastructure. This section has demonstrated that military aerosol spraying saturates environments with highly flammable metallic particulates. Directed energy weapons can ignite these metal-laced environments with precision targeting. Patents confirm that these technologies exist and have been developed for large-scale deployment. Recent wildfire disasters display clear forensic evidence of D.E.W ignition and fire acceleration. The destruction caused by these events benefits governments, defense contractors, financial elites, and globalist smart city planners. Publishing Zombie. If you like what you're watching, please ring the bell, share the video, and subscribe for more. But whatever you do, don't go anywhere, because we have a lot more Inferno unleashed that they do not want you to see. Inferno Unleashed. Wildfires have long been a part of nature's cycle, but in recent years, the scale, intensity, and strategic targeting of fires have raised serious questions about whether these disasters are truly natural events. With the increasing use of directed energy weapons and geoengineering aerosols, these fires are now being engineered, weaponized, and used as tools of social, economic, and political transformation. At first glance, it may seem that these fires are random or simply the result of poor forest management, but deeper investigation reveals a systematic pattern of destruction followed by government and corporate takeovers of land and infrastructure. This section will expose how DEW-driven wildfires and geoengineering operations are part of a larger global strategy to reshape urban environments, control populations, and push forward the transition to smart cities and digital surveillance infrastructure. To understand the true purpose of these engineered fires, we must look at the three-stage process that follows every major fire disaster mass destruction. DEWs and geoengineering create firestorms that target specific areas, often in high-value real estate zones or rural regions marked for future urbanization. Fires burn at unnatural intensities, melting steel and concrete, while selectively sparing certain buildings. Entire towns are wiped out overnight, leaving thousands of displaced survivors with no resources, no insurance payouts, and no ability to return home. Population displacement. After fires, many residents are forced to leave permanently, unable to rebuild due to zoning laws, government buyouts, or skyrocketing reconstruction costs. Governments declare certain burned areas as too dangerous to inhabit, preventing rebuilding efforts. Victims who attempt to return face endless bureaucratic obstacles, while developers and government agencies move in to seize the land. Corporate and government takeovers, large financial firms and globalist-backed organizations buy up the land at discounted rates. Smart city projects, sustainable housing developments, and new climate-resilient infrastructure suddenly emerge in burned-out areas. Governments implement new restrictive policies on land use, water control, and urban development to ensure that only pre-approved projects can be built. The push for smart cities is one of the most overlooked aspects of engineered wildfires. In multiple instances, regions devastated by fire were already designated for smart city development before the fires even started. Case Study 1, Maui, Hawaii, 2023. Before the fires, Maui officials discussed plans to transform Lahaina into a smart island with AI-controlled infrastructure. After the disaster, survivors were pressured to sell their land to major real estate developers tied to global investment firms like BlackRock and Vanguard. Local residents were blocked from rebuilding, while the government fast-tracked permits for smart city construction. Case Study 2, Paradise, California, 2018. The town of Paradise was destroyed by a fire that burned at extreme temperatures, leaving, anomalous burn patterns. Just months before, California approved plans to develop smart communities in rural areas affected by wildfires. The rebuilding process has been slow and restricted, leaving many former residents unable to return. We will have to see how things go for the victims of the 2025 Los Angeles fires. They may have some of these same challenges. Anyway, these patterns indicate that wildfires are being used as an excuse to push mass population relocations into pre-planned smart city developments. The transition from traditional cities to smart cities is being driven by big tech, real estate conglomerates, and globalist institutions. The following organizations stand to benefit the most from fire-driven urban transformation: the World Economic Forum and United Nations. Both organizations promote smart cities as part of their climate action goals. The WEF's Great Reset agenda encourages the use of climate disasters to justify major infrastructure changes. Governments that comply receive funding for smart cities and climate initiatives. Big tech giants Google, Microsoft, and Amazon. These companies are leading the development of AI-controlled city grids, biometric surveillance, and digital infrastructure. Google's Sidewalk Labs has proposed multiple smart city models that align with post-fire redevelopment plans. Microsoft's AI-driven sustainability projects are being implemented in wildfire-affected regions. BlackRock, Vanguard, and global real estate firms. After wildfires, investment firms swoop in to buy land at bargain prices, preventing former residents from reclaiming their property. Corporate-backed urban development groups are granted permits to build new smart cities, turning former rural regions into tightly controlled digital zones. This combination of corporate, government, and globalist interests ensures that engineered wildfires remain a profitable and strategic tool for reshaping society. The ultimate goal of replacing traditional communities with smart cities is not sustainability, it is control. Smart cities are built on a digital grid, designed to monitor, restrict, and regulate every aspect of daily life. Smart cities require facial recognition cameras, AI monitoring, and digital ID systems to track residents at all times. Movement within smart cities is controlled. Certain areas may be restricted based on carbon footprint scores. Energy and water control under the pretext of climate protection. Smart cities operate on strict energy rationing, using smart meters to regulate household electricity and water usage. Climate policies will justify limiting access to transportation, food, and even basic utilities. Residents in smart cities will no longer own their homes. Instead, they will be assigned living spaces as part of a sustainable urban plan. The 15-minute city model will restrict travel, forcing people to live, work, and shop within a government-monitored zone. This technocratic system of control is being implemented under the guise of climate resilience, but the true motive is to establish a digital prison where freedom is completely eliminated. Future wildfire events are already being mapped out. Government documents indicate that future wildfire disasters have already been planned, with regions designated for climate disaster redevelopment. The U.S. National Climate Assessment, 2021, predicts that wildfires will increase in specific regions by 2030, many of which overlap with smart city development zones. The U.S. Department of Defense has contracts with defense contractors for fire control energy-based weapon systems scheduled for deployment in 2025. The World Economic Forum's Smart City 2030 agenda outlines wildfire-prone zones as priority areas for climate-resilient redevelopment. These documents confirm that engineered firestorms are a tool of pre-planned urban transformation. This section has demonstrated that wildfires are being used as an engineered tool to clear land for smart city development. DEWs and geoengineering aerosols work together to create targeted firestorms. Big tech, globalist institutions, and financial elites are behind the push for smart cities in burned-out regions. Future firestorms have already been mapped out in government and military planning documents. Smart cities are designed not for sustainability, but for total surveillance, energy control, and restricted movement. Stay tuned for Chapter 4, How Air Becomes Fuel. Publishing Zombie is proud to bring you Inferno Unleashed. Hit the bell, like and share for more. See you next time, as we have a lot more to show you. We're just getting warmed up. To be continued. Don't miss the next chapter. Subscribe now and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Like, share, and follow to stay updated. There's much more to uncover. You can also order your own copy of Inferno Unleashed, the dark science behind geoengineered wildfires, available now in Amazon bookstores.